What's up, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world? I am my block's strongest man. I'd like to take a moment to wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day today. My plans kind of fell through because my son got sick, so I had to stay home with them while the rest of the family went about their normal plans. So I got a few moments to jump on here, talk with you about World's Strongest Man 2021 and what's going on today with the World's Strongest Man 2021 Finals Day 2, where we went into the max log lift, and we talked yesterday a lot about where the point standings were, how Tom Stoltman had a really firm hold on first place, and whether or not we thought Brian Shaw would be able to catch him, and it seemed unlikely, at least to most of the folks in the audience, and to me as well. Starting to look a little bit different today, so let's talk through what's happened today. So the max log lift has now completed. And as you see on the screen, it was won by Luke Stoltman, the favorite by many to win the max log. And he did, in fact, win it at 215 kilos. You then had Maxime Boudreau, Trey Mitchell, and Bobby Thompson tied at 8 points each. And that would be at 205 kilos each. For the next heaviest weight. What's up, Luke, strongest blacksmith? Yes, in fact, Luke did in fact smash the max log for sure. I saw an Instagram post somewhere, I think it was even on World's Strongest Man's IG, about Bobby kind of collapsing after. So it seems like he really gave his all to try to get his weight up to where Luke was. Didn't quite get there, but he really gave his all. I hope that didn't take too much out of him for the upcoming deadlift, because that's another place where Bobby can really start to make some strides. And Bobby, I believe, was in last place yesterday. He's up to 8th now because of his max log lift performance, which was really, really good. And again, he was one of the gentlemen tied for 8 points there. And then you had 10 points for Luke. Then you would have the equivalent of what would be 9th, 8th, and 7th. For the next 3 guys, averaging out to 8 because they tied each other. So those are those 3. And so the next place should be 6. But then you had 3 guys tying there as well. So that was Brian Shaw, Konstantin Janasha, and JF Caron tying. So that 654 averages out to 5 points for each of them because they tied at 195 kilos. And then you would have Tom Stoltman, a bit of a surprise to some folks, tying with Athor Melstead at the next heaviest weight, 185 kilos. So they got 2.5 points each. And then you had Adam Bishop coming in last at 170 kilos. So is there anybody I missed there? I think that's everybody. So Brian Shaw did, in fact, make up some points here. He made up 2.5 points because I believe he was down by 5.5 yesterday. And he is now down by 3 points. So Brian making some moves, but as we said yesterday, he'd have to get some help from Tom performing under expectations. And I think he did a little bit here. Not that his weight is so much lower than everybody else, but, you know, if you miss it by 1 weight, it can really cost you some placings. And so Tom Stoltman still holds on to the #1 placing at World's Strongest Man 2021, looking like he's going to win this still. But Brian Shaw has closed the gap a bit. I feel like Tom is going to win the Atlas Stones and Brian's going to come in second, which would separate them out by 1 more point. They're 3 points apart now, so that would make it 4. So Brian would have to win the deadlift by 4 more points to win this, in my opinion, which is really, really unlikely. But hey, we'll see what happens. I didn't feel like they were going to be this far apart on max log lift either, and a lot of other people didn't either. So we'll see how this all plays out. It is 1:43 Eastern time right now. So that would be 10:43 local time there in Sacramento. And the deadlift is supposed to begin at 11. So in about 15, 16 minutes from now, that event should be starting and we'll see what happens. So again, a couple of things to consider. One, if Brian would have done the 1 weight higher, which is 205, I've done the math, I think he'd only be down by 0.5 point. So maybe a little bit of disappointment, or maybe he gave his best and is happy with giving his all there and just didn't have any more to give. But yeah, if he would have done 205, I think he'd be down by 0.5 point to Tom right now. And then it would be a little bit of a different, more dicey discussion there. And then the other story, of course, is Bobby Thompson kind of collapsing after giving his all to try to get up to that 215 that Luke Stoltman had. And Bobby still got the 205, so still the next highest weight. And then kind of the other story there is a slight surprise to me, probably not to anybody else, is that Maxime Boudreau has a really big log lift. I didn't think he'd equal Bobby, and he did. So props to Max. Love to see it. Wasn't expecting it. And that's about it for now. So that's where the max log lift went today. And so how that results in the overall, Tom Stoltman maintains his firm hold on the top position with 31 points now. Brian Shaw at 28 points, still in second place. Luke Stoltman now has jumped up onto the podium at 27 points. And amazingly enough, only a point behind Brian Shaw. So that's something. And Maxime Boudreau in fourth, only half a point behind Luke. So very, very close there with quite a few guys. And then we jump down a few points to Konstantin Janasha in fifth with 23. Trey Mitchell has 20 points, and he is in sixth place. JF Corona in seventh place with 18 points. Bobby Thompson with 17 points in eighth place. Athor Ingolfsson Melstead in ninth place with 15.5 points. And Adam Bishop in 10th place with 14 points. So those are the placings. Hey, what's up, Antoine? So Antoine Pitt, Max can make a podium. That's incredible. It would be. So deadlift is not great for him compared to people at this world level, right? His deadlift is incredible, but not compared to the best deadlifters in the world. So not great for him, but stones are great for him. So it'll be really interesting where he can kind of maintain there and see if he can make that podium. I agree, that would be incredible. And how about JF? So JF got 5 points on the max log lift. He didn't do wonderfully in the log last year either, and now he's got this hamstring injury as well. So I really feel bad for JF. I think that, you know, he's in an unfortunate circumstance where he's trying to push through, but isn't able to give his best performance. And I know that he would have wanted to give his best and see where the cards lie. He really does for all of his incredible hard work and just all the improvement that we've slowly seen over the past few years. Deserves to be on the podium. I think there's a win in his future. So really unfortunate that he's had, that kind of bad luck like some of the other guys have had as well this year. Antoine Pitt says, Luke is not an awesome deadlifter and stones are coming. He can do it. He is good at stones for sure. Yeah, Luke has a good shot. Luke's not an awesome deadlifter. You're making the point for Max, I understand, but Luke's a good stone lifter. Max is probably a slightly better stone lifter. I think Luke's a better deadlifter than Max, though, even if he's not an awesome deadlifter or top tier. I think he's better than Max. I don't know. It'll be very close, but it's really looking like one of those two guys is going to make the podium. I don't think Konstantin's going to do well on the max deadlift. I don't know if he can make up enough points to overtake Luke or Maxime, especially given Luke being, fairly good, very good at stones, and Maxime being exceptionally good at stones. So we'll see what happens there. Anybody watching who hasn't subscribed yet, if you like what you're watching, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that. And like this stream. And we'll probably just wrap it up, I guess, and wait until the deadlift comes around and see where the placings fall there and what happens. Hey, what's up, Ronnie? Let's see. Too bad Brian Shaw didn't get the 205 on the log. Yeah, like I said, I did the math, and if I'm doing the math correctly, if he got the 205, the way the points would have split out. So there's 3 guys at 8 points. So it would be they're 8 points because they're taking the place of people that would otherwise be 9, 8, 7. So you average them out, and so all 3 of them get 8 because they tied. So if you throw a 4th guy into there, which would be Brian, it would be 9, 8, 7, 6. So he would get, the average would become 7.5. He'd get 7.5 points instead of the 5 that he received, which would be 2.5 points or 2.5 points higher than his total currently is. And he's only down by 3 to Tom. So he would be within half a point if he had gotten that 205 log, according to my math, if it's right. So shoulda, woulda, coulda, didn't happen. It would have been great, but unfortunately didn't happen. So he's going to have to just deal with things the way they are. Try to find a way to try to beat Tom on stones. But if Brian finds a way to beat Tom on stones, he'll beat him by a point. It's not enough. So I don't know. Something like what happened with Tom here on max log is going to have to also happen on deadlift. Brian doesn't have it all within his control, is what I'm saying. He's doing well, but like he needs things to fall his way as well. UKY says Brian needs to win the deadlift to secure the win. He does. Do you think that he can? Well, I mean, Adam's an incredible deadlifter. I've always said deadlift for reps, Adam's going to be exceptionally hard to beat. And then Bobby Thompson, I had rated above Adam at one point, but he gave so much of himself for that log. I don't know if he's going to have his best stuff ready for the deadlift coming up in 10 minutes now, right? So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if he's going to have his best stuff left. So maybe Brian can do a little better than he normally would, just kind of comparing to others. But is he going to deadlift better than Adam Bishop, Bobby Thompson? He can beat JF now that JF is injured. So I don't know. Some sort of pieces of fortune are kind of falling his way, but can he win the deadlift? I don't know. As you say, it is possible. Or is it possible? I don't know. Cutter Thompson says, thanks for giving us entertainment since we have no other source for WSM. You do. You have other sources. I'm always a huge proponent of, I'll tell you, I love doing this stuff, but the best in the industry is Big Loz. There's no doubt about it. I watch everything he does. If you haven't watched his stuff, you should. I don't know if he's done a video yet about this particular event, but you definitely have other sources of entertainment to watch, but I really do appreciate you coming by. I'm trying to give you as up-to-date information as I possibly can. And I think you are referring to World's Strongest Man themselves, not sharing a stream. And I get that. I get the frustration. I'm kind of like Laz and Liz. I've started having fun, like waiting for the spreadsheets to update. And not that seeing it wouldn't be better, but, kind of make the best of it, right? But thanks for dropping by. I really do appreciate it. Hassan is back. What's up, Hassan? The deadlift setup looks awkward and cumbersome. Oh, I haven't seen it. What does it look like? Can you describe a bit? Did they end up using toolboxes on the end for the knack sponsor, or is it something more traditional? Yuki or UKY? I'll say Yuki. Without JF, there is a chance. Without JF, there's definitely a better chance. JF was, for me, the top deadlifter. He's just Shaw Classic from last year and whatnot. JF is the top deadlifter. So with JF injured, for sure the probability goes up for Brian to do better, for sure. Antoine Pitt says, rumors says that Tom is injured. I don't know if it is true. We had heard that when we met and we were talking with each other last night, something about an elbow injury. So if indeed that's true, then that would affect a max log lift. That could bother him on a deadlift too. I don't know. And as I said yesterday, I hope he's not injured. I'm sure Brian would not want to beat an injured Tom. He would want to win with everybody at their best, So that's that. Michael Dire says, your spreadsheets are the best out there. This one's not mine, so I don't know if you're talking about this one. This is not my spreadsheet. Just full disclosure, this is Eloi Fournier's spreadsheet. So I have shown mine many times. I can do that. So maybe you do mean that one. I'm not sure. But if we share my spreadsheet, it is this one. So this is mine. And I did, for people who have been watching my videos all along, I did everything from the weights they were using in qualifiers. So my spreadsheet is really a whole workbook if you haven't seen the whole thing. So I did, we'll go to the beginning and I'll show you real quick. So I had the event details on the first tab. Then I had competitors' heights and weights for events where that matters, like train push and whatnot. I had all the weights that they were prepping with. And, obviously we've talked about prep isn't the whole story, but it's part of the story. Weights that they were prepping on events that were similar to finals. Then how my predictions changed after talking with Big Loz. So as you go through predictions after we knew who was in the finals and whatnot and kind of all those things. So I've ended up with this, which I did a few days ago. So if I were to redo these predictions again, they might change a little bit, but I'm not going to, I'll stick with what I have, and chips fall where they may. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. No big deal. But this one is my spreadsheet. The other one that I was showing is not mine. I want to be very clear about that. It's Eloi Fournier. So full credit to him. And we'll go ahead and share that one more time. Cool. All right. Ronnie Nielsen says, according to World's Strongest Fan, he's not injured. He talked with Tom's wife, who said he was healthy. I hope so. I hope so. I watch Laz and Liz, but as far as live streaming, the most consistent since Laz and Liz are on a different schedule. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing they can do about that, right? I feel really bad for them. Like, they're up in the middle of the night trying to cover these things sometimes. It's over there, it's already almost 7 p.m., right? And the events, there's 2 events left to go. So imagine, the incredible hard work they're putting in. For any of you who haven't subscribed to them yet, definitely do so. They for sure deserve it. They're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers soon, and they for sure deserve it. They put out an incredible product. Let's see. Hassan says, big toolbox is on the end. Okay. And are we confirming it's a 9-inch deadlift? So even though they are big toolboxes, they're either not very tall or they're using platforms to equal it out and still make it a 9-inch? We're confirming that, right? Axingen123 says, I still think the winner is Tom despite his performance in the log. I think so too, unless he's injured and something happens on the deadlift. It's too many points, in my opinion, to make up. Because I think Tom, again, barring any tacky malfunctions or him being injured or anything like that, I think he beats Brian by 1 point on the stones, making the differential 4 points, meaning that Brian would have to win the deadlift by 4 or more points to win. And that's not likely, in my opinion. So, but either way, like, second place for Brian is nothing to sneeze at. It's a great, great accomplishment, especially for everybody that said he was done last year. That couldn't have been more wrong. Tom got dizzy apparently during the log. I guess there's less oxygen up there when you're so tall. No, I'm joking. It's probably the heat is what it is. Like, I don't know why they don't try to find a more temperate location, I was actually going to go Google, like, what is the most temperate city in the U.S.? But, who knows? They may move to other countries in the future. But yeah, they should just, like, what is it with the Botswana and, like, the extreme conditions that these guys always have to deal with? It's crazy. I know that nobody could have predicted the hurricane last year in Florida, but it just seems like, don't make it too hot. Don't make it too cold. Find somewhere that during that time of year is usually probably pretty temperate, and let the guys perform at their best. I mean, Tom very likely is being overcome by the heat. That's my guess, right? Hey, Kathleen, thanks for dropping by. Nice to see you again. Let's see. Antoine, every time you pronounce my last name, I laugh so hard. I'm French, and even my friends are struggling with it. Okay. So I studied Latin in high school way back when I was many, many years ago when I was young. I studied Latin. I studied German. I'm of Italian heritage and took a year in college. I picked up Spanish over the years with my friends. I've never, unfortunately, learned French. So my apologies. Thank you that you're taking it in good spirits, but my apologies for getting it wrong. Let's see. Got a lot more comments coming in. Stream. Thanks, Ryan. Yep, just going through, seeing. We have a few kind of repeated comments. Okay, here we go. Would Mateus have walked this if he was fit? Have walked? I don't understand. Have won this if he was fit? I don't know. I'd have to do all the analysis. I don't know. When he was fit, he had great overhead, so that overhead medley probably would have worked out well for him. We'd have to go through every event, so it'd be a kind of a whole analysis there. Costin Sutton is back. Hey, John, you're on my TV. Awesome. Gather all the fathers around to see my block strongest man. Dijon says, yeah, this event was Brian's shot. He got the break he needed, but he didn't capitalize. Would be tied just by getting 205. Disappointing. Yeah. It's true. I mean, I didn't see it, so I don't know if he gave his all, and that was his all, and what more can you do? Or if he held anything back, thinking about future events. So it would be difficult to make a decision without seeing it, which I did not. Kathleen says, so can still hold to win with points. Are we talking about Tom? Tom very likely will hold on to win, unless something goes gravely wrong in the deadlift. Tom, yep. Okay, so you said it in the next comment, Tom. Here we go. Try that again. Tom can win holding on to the points. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think Tom's going to beat Brian by 1 point on stones. They're the two best stone lifters, and then that means the differential is 4 points. So Brian will have to win in deadlift by 4 points just to tie him, or 5 to win the whole thing. Cutter Thompson says live stream on WSM Instagram showed the implements. Ah, okay, awesome. Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to check that out. Stay spicy, Tom and Luke. I agree. I think it's so cool that Luke is doing so well. Really do. Really loving seeing that. Bradley Vincent is back. What's up? I can't take these highs and lows. Come on, Tom. The whole contest has been like that, right? Like anytime I took so much heat for some of my predictions at the beginning, but what would be considered more common wisdom, like some of those fell apart too. This contest has just been all over the place, dynamically changing with injuries or just people who didn't perform up to what you thought or people that outperform what you thought. It's been crazy, but it's been exciting as well. Let's see. What do you think about stones? What is your predictions? My prediction is Tom Stoltman wins stones, Brian Shaw second. I had originally said Trey Mitchell third. Either he or Maxime will be in that position. Those are kind of the highest stone lifter or the best stone lifters. And Luke Stoltman's probably right in there right after that. I would say Bobby struggles with stones. I think it's kind of well known that Bobby struggles with stones. Adam's been a good stone lifter in his prep as well. Of course, he has to put it together in the competition, but Adam's been a good stone lifter as well. And Athor won a stone off to get into the final, so could go either way. But that's what I think. Tom, Brian, Trey, Max, or Max Trey. WX Central sounds like Brian gave it his all with the 205 log from Gordon Dorff's IG stories. Okay, well then what more can you do, right? Like the math says, if he did the 205, he would have been in a really good position. But if he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. It just is what it is. Josh Rog says, what time is the deadlift? So the deadlift is listed here to be at 11 o'clock a.m. local time. So I, for example, am on Eastern time. So that would be 2 o'clock, which is right around now. So they should be starting right around now, if indeed they are starting on time. So it's listed here to go for 53 minutes. I don't know how they schedule to the minute, but let's just say between now and an hour from now, we should be getting close to having a lot of the results. That's at least what's expected. Kathleen says that's Tom's problem, highs and lows. Yeah, he was really consistent in the qualifiers. I have to give him that. Like his points didn't deviate very much. And it's funny, if you looked at his pattern of points in the qualifiers and Luke's, they were both like really consistent, in their respective groups. Antoine says Janasha can win the deadlift. In the past, he did 400 kilos for 5 with JF in the World Deadlift Championship. He did a 430 in prep on his IG as well, but it wasn't a 9-inch. I think it was a 13 or a 15-inch. So yeah, Janasha's deadlift is huge. If he's on point, his deadlift is huge. Michael Werner says, do you think Tom strategically laid up for Luke? No. I thought about it. Like, this isn't the first time this crossed my mind. But no, I don't think so. I don't think either one of them would want the other to do that for them. They want to win on their own merits. They seem to be really stand-up guys who want to work really hard to win, and I respect that. I don't think that would ever happen. By the way, anybody who's here for the first time, if you like what you're watching, please remember to hit that subscribe button. It really does help me. I don't know if you know this, but coming up July 9th is my 1-year anniversary on YouTube, and I very much would love to have my 1,000 subscribers by then. So not that it's any of your problem, but if you like what you're watching, hit subscribe. It would be a very, very nice gift for me for my 1-year anniversary, July 9th, to have my 1,000. So thanks for doing that. William says, does Brian still have a chance? A very slim chance. Like, it's not zero, but it's not fully in his control, I would say. Like, if Brian won the deadlift, he would need Tom to do a certain level of pour for it to work out for him. So, yeah, it's not fully in his control anymore. WX Central says, it's stressful watching the results roll out. It sure is, especially because they don't all come out at once. Yep. Thank you for subscribing, Kathleen. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming by every day to check us out and give us your great insight. Caleb Gardner says Brian can still win this. He can. Like if you're talking mathematical probability, yes, he can. Is it highly likely? I don't think so. Some of you may disagree. I don't think it's highly likely. But yeah, things would have to fall his way. Like he would have to beat Tom in the deadlift by 5 points. Or something out of the ordinary would have to happen in the Atlas Stones that I don't expect happening. Even if Brian beats Tom in the Atlas Stones, it'll likely be by a point. It's not enough. So can he? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Mathematically, he can. It would be freaking awesome if Brian Shaw wins his 5th title. Don't get me wrong. Tom is extremely deserving as well. So, it's a great outcome either way. But yeah, it would be awesome to see Brian win 5. You'd never again hear people say, well, does Marius have an argument over Brian because he has more titles? Because they'd be tied. Then people can focus all their energy on how many titles Kaz should have had and where he belongs in the all-time list if they had continued to invite him back. WX Central says, I think Brian could come top 3 in the deadlift. So Adam, Bobby, and then Brian? It depends if people tie as well, because that really throws things off sometimes. If you have to split points and you don't get sole possession of those points, it can really affect a really close standing. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Brian, if there's no tie at the top and you have, let's say, Adam 10 points, Bobby 9, and Brian 8, then Tom would have to have 3 for Brian to be in a good position going into the Atlas Stones. And he'd still have to make sure he comes in second to Tom in the Atlas Stones. So again, is it possible? Is there a way to get it done? Yes, but it's not all in his hands. He has to rely on Tom not doing as well as maybe Tom would like to do. Stuart Robertson says, if Tom finishes top 5 in deadlift, then it's his title. I would agree with that. Yep, I would agree with that. Yuki says, I am from Sri Lanka, and I don't think you guys heard about my country's YouTube channels are the main reason I get to know about World's Strongest Man. I might be the only person watching from Sri Lanka. Well, welcome from Sri Lanka. That's awesome. Thank you so much for dropping by. Definitely take a look at some of my other stuff while you're here. I have a lot of great interviews with 5 of these World's Strongest Men competitors so far. And we'll see. Ivars is supposed to come on as well. We'll see if he's still down for it, since I don't know how he'll be feeling when he makes the finals. He seems like a happy-spirited guy, so he might still come by, and that would be 6 for me. And if you're counting Gabe Pena as an alternate, that would be 7, because he was on here as well. That's an awesome interview. You should check that one out. But thank you for coming from Sri Lanka. I love my international audience. It's awesome. Antoine says, the setup for the deadlift looks very low on the Instagram of World's Strongest Fan, maybe less than 9 inches. So they're doing a deficit? Ugh. Oh, boy. Anyway, why don't we wrap it up for now? Let everybody go wait by the spreadsheets for everything to update, and we'll jump back on a little later and talk about what we've seen. I'll see if I can get back after the deadlift. If not, we'll do a recap when everything's all over. So you want to, everybody, give me your pick for Podium right now before we jump off? Everybody in the comments, just give me your 1, 2, 3. Bradley Vincent, you definitely deserve more, and if you don't reach 1,000 subscribers in the next 2 weeks, I'll eat. That's my phrase. I said that. I think I told Big Laws if JF doesn't make the top 5, because he picked him not to. I said, I'll eat my hat. And then, of course, he got injured right after that, so I guess I got to eat my hat. But thanks for the kind words, Bradley. I really appreciate that. WX Central says they're currently testing the deadlift. In the next 15 minutes, I expect results. Okay, cool. Seen predictions with Big Law's video. Awesome. Yeah, Big Law's is awesome. Big Law's and I are friendly. We get along very well. I support him wholeheartedly. I believe he supports me too. But yeah, he's awesome. Him and Liz are first of all, Liz doesn't get the credit she deserves. She's doing an incredible amount of work that I don't know if all of you are aware of behind the scenes. She's just recently on camera, but she does an incredible amount of work. So definitely go sub to them if you haven't yet. Get them up to their 100K. They really, really deserve it. Laz brings an incredible wealth of experience from his own career to his interviews and to his analysis that is kind of unique in the space. You don't really get that from a lot of other channels. So, I go there to learn quite a bit. I watch everything they do. WX Central says it'll be Tom, Brian, Luke. Bob Seaver says it'll be Tom, Brian, Luke. Antoine says Tom, Brian, Maxime. Kathleen going for Tom. Bradley, Tom, Brian, Max. Tom, Luke, Brian. Oh, you got Luke second. That would be something. 1-2 with the Stoltmans. Yuki says Brian, Tom, Luke. Tom, Luke, Max. Cutter Thompson, Brian, Tom, Janasha. Okay, so we have one different one there. Tom, Brian, Luke. Brian, Tom, Luke. Awesome. Okay, so we have a few more. Let me just get everybody in there, and then I really got to run. Ronnie, I hope for Shaw, Stoltman, Maxime. Okay, so Luke out of it. I'm assuming you mean Tom. Sitting here 10 miles from the Spicy Boys base. Tom, Brian, Luke. Cool. Cool. Uncle Laz and Auntie Liz, I am subbed. Laz, you got to thank me for that one. I got you a sub, buddy. They're the best. They really are. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up. Let me give you mine. So Tom, Brian, 3 is hard for me. Tom, Brian, Luke is going to do better than Max. Oof, that's going to be so close. I'm going to say that it's so close that because Luke is up by half a point now, he'll maintain that half a point. Tom, Brian, Luke, the way it is now is my prediction. See y'all later. Thanks again for joining me on my blog, Strongest Man. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. And after the contest is over, we'll come back, talk about how it all played out and who the podium is. And of course, as always, until next time, ciao, homie.